5 spiritual books that changed my life. For real, for real. First of all, welcome to the Rebel Goddess channel. This is my first video, so happy to have you here. And this is about spirituality, because spiritual empowerment is what helps us to step outside of social norms and rise in our true power. So I'm gonna just dive right into it. The first book is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. There's a sticker on it. So most of you probably know Eckhart Tolle. I'm not sure how he likes to pronounce it. This was an international bestseller, so you probably have heard of it. But it's basically exactly about what the title says, the power of now. So being present in the now and the power that gives us in our lives. So most of us spend all of our time in our heads. That's the way people live in society. And it is really disempowering us, because when we actually become present and we are not listening to all this mumbo jumbo in our head, this is when we can be powerful. And I actually had a spiritual awakening when I read this book. So that's how much it influenced my life. I was still living in LA at the time, and I was back home in Ireland at my mom's house, and my mom gave me her copy. And I just woke up, and I'll do a whole video on spiritual awakening another day for people who have also been through it. But long story short, basically I woke up, and from that day on, my journey began, my spiritual journey. And I did fall back into unconsciousness many times, but that is the day my journey began. It's in question and answer format, so it's very simple to read. So if you're just starting to wake up, you often have a lot of questions, or whatever stage you're at the journey, and this just really makes it simple. And you can literally see people asking the same kind of things you'd be thinking about, and then Eckhart answers them pretty well. So that's the power of now. Straight up wisdom. Second one is the Untethered Soul. Untethered Soul, the journey beyond yourself. So this is about, just again, like the title says, your soul not being tethered to anything. So that means inner freedom. So that's the theme of this book, is inner freedom. He uses many metaphors and everything to show us that it really is inner freedom that we're seeking. So we might think that it's the perfect job or the perfect relationship, or we really want that promotion and then we'll be happy. We really need the promotion, that's it. And it's really not, because as you know, we've all been there. When that happens, when you get the thing that you wanted, the next problem just arises, literally. Like, how long does it last? Ever. Until a whole bunch of new problems arise, and then you solve those problems, and then the next problem arises. So it just keeps shifting. So you think that maybe we would cop onto the fact by now that it's inner freedom that we're looking for. It doesn't matter what you have on the outside. So he talks about letting go of our attachments to those external things, even external events, for our happiness. And he also talks about emotions. So when we become present, we start to notice our emotions more. So he talks a lot about letting go. He wrote another book called The Surrender Experiment, which is also very good, which is all about his journey of letting go and how life actually worked out best for him when he just let go. So that is The Untethered Soul by Michael J. Singer, another awesome spiritual teacher. The third one is Awareness by Anthony DeMello. So this guy was a Jesuit priest. He is dead, passed. This is all about waking up past our illusions. So he talks a lot about illusions and concepts. So concepts are mind-based ideas that we have. So let's take one illusion, the illusion of money. So money doesn't really exist. It's literally a concept in our minds that we have all decided to agree on to make things easier for us. But really, it's just the transfer of energy that we're talking about. So that's just one illusion. Another illusion is this concept of culture, like nationality, or, like I'm Irish because I was born in Ireland. But what does that mean? What does that determine about me? Like, it doesn't mean anything. I was just born in a part of the world, So a lot of these concepts are just built on man-made ideas. Like countries don't actually exist. They're just, people decided to make up this make-believe border, and then that was a country, when really it's just all the world, you know? And yes, it is a duality. Like obviously culture does play a part, you know, in things, but it's about looking past those aspects and seeing that at the end of the day, we're all just a soul, and souls cannot be cultured. You know, your true spirit, your true soul is not affected by culture. It goes beyond that. So that's what he talks about. And I like it because he just kind of yells at you to wake up, honestly. He's a pretty crass. It's not, he does not sugarcoat it at all. He's like, wake up, you dummy. And I kind of appreciate that, to be honest. So it says the perils and opportunities of reality. So that's what he's about. He's about just waking up and dealing with reality, whether it's scary or great. It's just, it is what it is. It's real. And that will actually bring you peace rather than living in some other mind-made concept. So that is Awareness by Anthony DeMello. Highly recommend. And the fourth one is A New Earth by my man Eckhart as well. Eckhart Tolle. So this one you should try to read The Power of Now first, because this is the sequel. And it is basically about building a new earth. So building a better life for all of us. So he kind of urges us to all wake up into higher consciousness so that we can build a better world together. And it is about leaning into your purpose, but he talks about the fact that there is your primary purpose, which is about being present. And then there is your secondary purpose, which is about the work, your purpose that you will carry out in the world. So you need to have your primary purpose in order to really naturally go into your outer purpose. So inner purpose, outer purpose, primary purpose, secondary purpose, I guess you could say. So there's no point in going after your secondary purpose, your outer purpose, if you are not at peace inside. That is the biggest message of this book. And I really had to take that on because I've been very purpose-driven my whole life. But I realized myself that when I'm driven towards my purpose and I'm not being present, it literally negates everything. There's really no point. So this is a very powerful book. And the last one is Spiritual Growth by Sanaya Roman. So she's actually not a very well-known author, I don't think. Well, not on the level of these guys. But I think this book should be much more out there because it is really good. It kind of was a bridge between, was kind of, I found more traditional spirituality. And this was probably maybe because it was written by a woman. So it has a little bit more feminine energy in it. And she talks about a little bit more about manifestation and frequencies. So it's a little bit more new age. It kind of is, like I said, a good bridge between the traditional spirituality and a little bit more new age stuff. So she talks about growing through joy a lot and through playfulness, which really resonated with me because in my spiritual journey, I went through a lot of pain, a lot of dark nights of the soul. And while I did grow tremendously through that, and pain is, inevitable and much needed part of our growth, I kind of got to a stage where I was ready to just grow through joy and play, and you can equally grow through joy and play. So I thought that was really important, and it was a really uplifting book and focused on growth. So there you have it. They are the 5 spiritual books that changed my life. One more. And they did, in fact, change my life. Like literally, I don't say that lightly. Because they are just pure wisdom, to be honest. Like, I'm a big reader, avid reader. I've read so many books over my lifetime. And the last years, I really have only been able to read wisdom. I don't want to read knowledge. There's literally no point. It just clouds my head with all this unnecessary stuff. And that's what happens a lot in the world. We don't need all that stuff. It's just clouding your judgment and just filling you with all these to-dos and all these things. And they're just, you don't need it. You really just need you need to be reminded that the wisdom is inside. It's literally inside. You have all the answers. And I found that for myself, I have all the answers within, always. When you are present, you know what to do. You know who you are. Everything, there's no confusion. So you don't need all that knowledge, you know? And the other interesting thing I thought is that all of these, apart from this one, which I mentioned, they're all written by men. And all the spiritual teachers that I've followed over the years, since 2016 is when I read The Power of Now, my first book. Most of the great masters are men. And I found it really interesting. There's one woman I follow called Gangaji. She's awesome. I only found her this year. But mostly are men. And it's really interesting. I do think that men are generally better at being present often. And I do also think that a lot of this spirituality is to do with our masculine energy within both of, men and women, because it's about emptying ourselves out, becoming still, becoming present. But feminine energy is about filling up, it's about filling up with love, expression, creativity, movement, flow. So I find personally that the feminine elements are often not touched upon in traditional spirituality. And that's what I'm bringing with Rebel Goddesses. So it's mixing in all of this wisdom with also the feminine way, I like to call it. Instead of meditating, you might have sensual yoga, which is what I teach. Because one is about being still and the other is about allowing yourself to flow. So I find it super interesting, and I'm fascinated with the intersection and the union between the masculine energy and the feminine energy. So I hope that was helpful, and that you will read some of these books. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Always want to say that. I've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel for a while, and I just thought it would be so funny to say these things. So subscribe to my channel. Yeah, for more wisdom and anything that will help you to step outside of social norms and to rise in your true power as your true self. See you next time.